Begin tonight with the community and a city grappling with the issue of not only gun violence, but children losing their lives to that gun violence. Thanks so much for being with us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Tanya O'Rourke.
And I'm Craig McKee. An 11-year-old gunned down in a barrage of bullets in the West End. There are 5 others shot, 4 of them children. No solutions, no suspects, only frustration and grief for so many involved tonight. Tanya, you're out at CPD headquarters and on top of this story for us tonight.
Thank you, Craig. I am. And police are on day 3 of the search for the person or people behind Friday's mass shooting. So I've been out here in the West End all day visiting the shooting scene, the memorial for those victims. And I also talked with Chief Teresa Thigi about the efforts to find these suspects. She says they've been working at this day and night. Investigators tell us 22 shots were fired from a dark sedan into a crowd of adults and children who were playing near Bent Drive in the West End. Now, those bullets hit and killed 11-year-old Dominic Davis. The other shot, a 12-year-old boy, a 13-year-old boy, 2 15-year-olds, and a 53-year-old woman. Police have not said which person is still hospitalized, but the police chief told me it is a boy who is in serious condition. Now, the family of 11-year-old Dominic were strong enough and courageous enough, I should say, to be at Sunday's news conference with city leaders. As Chief Thigi went over the case, the family held hands, feeling the indescribable heartache of losing a child, especially in such a violent way. Dominic's father, Isaac Davis, spoke to the community about the violence that took the life of his son. Here's what he had to say.
When would it stop? Would this ever stop? Like, how many people have to bury their kids, their babies, their loved ones? Like, look at his mother. Look at me. I mean, you know, you're not gonna realize it until someone happens to your family, until it happens to you. I'm just asking anybody that know anything to come forward, please. Just please come forward. We're begging. I don't know what else to say, but just please come forward.
Please come forward. So I talked to the police chief about that father's comments. She hopes, because they are his words, that they'll reach the conscience of someone who knows who pulled the trigger.
You know, there is somebody in this city who knows something about Friday night's incident, and they are keeping it to themselves. And I can stand in front of a camera all day long and say, please tell us what you know. Call Crime Stoppers, call the homicide unit. But to have the father of a victim stand in front of a camera, maybe that's what that person who knows something needs to see and needs to hear to say, I need to tell somebody what I know.
Because it is true that 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds on a Friday night at 9:30, on a beautiful November night, should be allowed to go outside and play safely.
Absolutely. And that's what my comments yesterday. I don't care how close or how far you live from the West End community. If you live in Cincinnati, you should be appalled by what happened in the West End on Friday night.
So the chief made some comments to me about encouraging whoever did this to come forward, to call police, to give some help to police about what has happened in the West End, and maybe they can, you know, find some peace, that this family could find some peace. And I was at that scene of the shooting today. There was a makeshift memorial. I talked to a man who saw what happened, but he told me, and one of our anchors, Brett Bugansky, is here with me now. He told me that he worries that he'll be the next shooting victim if he comes forward. You can do it anonymously, but that's one of the fears in this community, and that's such a sad thing to have that hanging over you, and it's such a sad thing for the entire community because they certainly want this to be solved.
They do. We hear about the fear, we hear about the frustration and the heartache involved, and we do speak to a lot of people, and they see us at a lot of these shootings. There's too many of them, but this one is standing out in particular because not only did it happen in the West End, but where it was located just feet away from the Laurel Playground, which is considered a safe space for a lot of kids. And while this is all happening, while there's fear and people wanting to come forward and maybe they don't want to, some people are trying to find solutions to make sure this doesn't happen.
Trauma and are frustrated, disappointed, disheartened.
Through the balloons, stuffed animals, and the crime tape still up through the leaves, this area of West End remembers 11-year-old Dominic Davis. But on Monday, and attempt to reach out.
Hey, how y'all doing? Can I get to see y'all real quick?
Offer some guidance
Youth program.
and potential solutions. Yesterday we kept hearing the word trauma, and we're not even just talking about the shooting from Friday night. We're talking about years and even decades, generation of trauma. What are you hearing from people?
Trauma, it's a really impactful thing because these kids, they see one of their friends who's just 11-year-old get shot and murdered, and it's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives.
When they used to say it takes a village to raise a child,
It really does.
sometimes it does, but sometimes that'll hurt the child because everybody in the village is not right.
LaCherie Upshaw explained trauma from her point of view.
It can stem from 20 years ago that they never talked about. It could be their livelihood today.
But also talked about how it can be complicated for people who are just trying to survive.
You can't go get a job. It's hard. I mean, they can now, but it's still hard. And it becomes a revolving door. That woman's going to be pregnant again.
While these workers still have many doors to open, they're leaving their calling card.
Hopefully, the world will be a better place one day.
And much like what you heard yesterday from the city manager, the police chief, the mayor, there was also a lot of calls from people in the neighborhood who are afraid of guns. They feel that there are still way too many guns on the street. So that's something that we also heard during that news conference there. They were talking about the access to guns and people not feeling safe. But at the same time, even if there are people who are afraid of guns, speaking to some people, they said they were still holding on to guns because that's the only thing they knew how to do where they felt protected, but at the same time, they still felt fearful holding on to those guns.
The guy I talked to out there in that neighborhood, he said, I don't have a gun, I'm scared of them, and I don't want to touch one. I don't want to get near the problems of guns. We wish that more people would be like that.
There is still a lot of fear and still a lot of people afraid to come out, but it's those events today where people are going door to door to try to mend those fences, to try to get people to trust one another once again, because they feel that is going to be the beginning of finding those solutions.
Let's hope so, and let's hope they find the person or persons who did this. So there is more to come on this later. Again, 11-year-old Dominic Davis was shot dead Friday night. 4 other children also shot in that incident Friday night. A 53-year-old woman also shot. One of the surviving children is in serious condition in the hospital. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the shooting statistics from the West End and touch on what the city has in the works to hopefully stop some of this senseless violence. Now, Craig, this situation is developing, and we're going to continue to monitor what is going on. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio for the rest of today's news.
All right, Tanya, thank you.